Okay, so Melt or Freeze Wriothesley, which one is better? It's Melt. I'm going to be honest. There's no other option. It's just Melt. Melt will be better. So the reason I say this is because Wriothesley has a big damage bonus on his charge attack, and his charge attack generally has 0 ICD. I mean, I say generally, it always has no ICD. There's just no ICD ever when mentioning Wriothesley's charge attack. So he's always able to charge attack. Now, certain Melt teams, you'll actually end up doing a combo of 3 normals and then a charge attack. However, I prefer to, say that, C1 plus, because I think if you're getting this character, you should be willing to invest into his C1, because you should definitely like this character. You should not be summoning on this character at all if you don't like this character enough to get his C1. I'm gonna be just frank with you. You shouldn't be summoning on him at all if you're not willing to get his C1, because Wriothesley right now at C0 is already, like, bad. C0 Wriothesley bad? I don't know. I think he can work, but his C1 plus, you're looking at a good character, I would say. I do think C1 plus Wriothesley is good, specifically because you have the Melt teams. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to tally up the entire team's damage, and we're going to just add it all up, and we're going to see what the damage numbers are later. So yeah, let's go ahead. We have a key on Furina. We have an Aqua Simulacra on Yelan. Just because I'm running 2 Hydros, I'm assuming I'm going to be fine on energy. Who knows? I could be wrong about that. Now, you may be asking, why do I have 2 Hydro characters on this team? Well, the reason for that is because, well, they're just going to do more damage than anything else that I add. Like, I could put Shino on the team, but it's not like she would do more damage. She wouldn't be doing more damage than what you're seeing here with Yelan doing 16,000 extra damage here. And then, yeah, we got all this, and then, yeah, see, these characters, they will do more damage. Trust me. Please trust me that, especially with my C2 Xilonen. This is kind of a wailed out setup, but there you go. That should have been it. Around 2 million damage from the looks of it. I mean, I'll add up all the damage when we actually go through this, but it did seem like it was 2 million damage around there. Okay, so here is the Melt team, and there is a reason why I say at least at C1 and beyond, the Melt team is quite stronger. And the main reason for this being is because now with Mavuika, she's able to melt off of Wriothesley's normal attacks, which increases her damage by a lot. And then also, she guarantees that Wriothesley melts basically every charge attack, and you can get some extra melts beyond that. So overall, this is absolutely Wriothesley's best team in terms of just damage, in terms of basically everything. So let's go ahead and let's see this go off. So I'm not really, all right, so there's that. Okay, we took a lot of damage there. All right, so okay, there we go. Another 320,000, and we're good. 300,000, and we're good. Boom, and that's it. That should be all we need. And yeah, that is the damage that it did. It's definitely done a lot more. Now, I'm gonna just discuss this now while I'm here. I do not think that having C2 Mavuika really affects this. So the reason why I think C2 Mavuika doesn't really matter here is because Mavuika here is not melting. I didn't melt with her burst, so she's losing a huge amount of damage because she is on an EM Sands, meaning every single hit she did with Wriothesley was not melting, so therefore the EM Sands was null. And then the same thing with the burst. We used the EM Sands. It was nothing because we didn't melt. We basically gained nothing out of that. Overall, the team's damage could be honestly even better had I used a C0 Mavuika and melted with her burst, if I'm being entirely honest. I do think melting with Mavuika on her burst definitely is that strong, or maybe even using an attack percent Sands. I don't know which one is better, but I do know that I don't think C2 Mavuika here matters a lot. So I just wanted to say that. And also, you can even take it to where, I have C2 Mavuika, however, I did have, a 5-star weapon on Furina, and I did have a 5-star weapon on Yelan, and then Yelan's also a 5-star. We can go ahead and we can have Bennett. So, like, we have Bennett here, right? We have Bennett here. He, some people like to count him as, like, a 5-star at this point because, 4-star C6 characters kind of hard to get. However, I've never, really done that. I've been like, all right, we're going to compare Bennett as a sort of C6. And also, he's a 1.0 character. The amount of people that have this guy at this point. I know it's hard to pull Bennett, but you guys have to have had him if you've been playing for a while, right? So even if you count him as a Yelan replacement, I still had a C1 Furina with 2 weapons, 2 5-star weapons. And I mean, we do have, you know, Mavuika's 5-star weapon, but, you know, the Yelan's weapon, then Furina's weapon, then the C1 with, you know, Furina, if you want to count it like that. So overall, the same team cost. If you really care about that sort of example, I do know that Melt is better overall. Like, there's no fighting it. It is just outright better than Freeze. If you wanted to try and use that as an argument against this team in my comparison, sorry to tell you, that didn't work. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go look at the numbers now, and we're going to compare. Okay, so I have now seen the numbers, and it's very clear that Melt is better. It is basically 50% better. However, I mean, well, we could talk about this now. C2 Mavuika is kind of like a 10% damage increase towards the DPS, right? So you do 10% more damage with this 20%, you know, defensive shred. And this is normal charge and her Sunfell Slice. All right, good. She is just getting the 20% res shred for herself. So if we take 10% of what, you know, the total damage, which was 2.9 million for the Melt, do I think Mavuika with her burst could have done over 290,000 extra damage, kind of? And I think that's a very much so, yeah. And it's a little bit less than that because it's 10% of what you already had, not 10% of what we have right now. Like, it's not, that's not how that works. So it wouldn't be 290. It would be more like, I don't know, what, like 270 or something. I don't exactly remember. But it's important to note that, like, if Mavuika was able to melt on her burst entirely, this team can be done free to play. Because C2 Xilonen. But C2 Xilonen was in both teams. It was a sort of, you know, it is basically, if you've ever done math, you know that x divided by x is just 1. So yeah, you can cancel the variable basically. She is on both teams. She's being a constant. Nothing changed really. I mean, she's providing different buffs to like Hydro, but I mean, you could argue that she's giving a bigger buff to the Hydro characters than she is to Mavuika, because Mavuika already has so much attack, right? So Wriothesley Melt definitely seems like the better option here, even, you know, C1 and beyond, I kind of have to say, because, you know, C0, the Melt team, not necessarily as effective. I didn't forget the chicken nugget. Here he is. There you go. All right, chat. So chicken nugget has been fulfilled. Copy his mood. Copy his move. Show the emoji in the comments to show that you got this far in the video or something. I don't know. So Mavuika, you can't use her as a, you know, 3-hit normal and then charge, right? You can't do that because she doesn't apply enough pyro. But, you know, with that 5 normal then charge, that works. And you can still do that combo at C0, by the way. You just wouldn't be able to get the damage bonus, which honestly, the damage bonus at C0 for his charge attack, like, the 50% damage bonus, I guess it would be something like this. You can see that it's 50% damage bonus. It's good. I'm not going to lie. However, the real reason why it's so good is that it just won't consume stamina. The 50% damage bonus is not that crazy. However, being able to just do that charge attack, the Melt should definitely be strong. And that's another reason why the Melt gets a lot better at C1, because you melt on the C1 hit, and then it's 200% damage bonus. You're melting on that hit. You saw it was doing 320,000. It's going to do a lot of damage. I hate my hair. So C1, it really does benefit you from having a Melt team. I think beyond C1, there is no competition. And I think even at C0, you can still use the Melt teams. I think, honestly, a triple Pyro Melt team might work. I can't really say, though. It would have to be, you'd have to use Wriothesley first, and then just use Mavuika's Q at the start of the rotation, and then start your rotation that way. I don't necessarily know exactly how good it would be. It's an issue, right? You having to use Shangling at C0, it seems. But, you know, generally, I don't think you should be summoning on this guy unless you plan to get a C1, because I don't. The way I see it, if you like this character, you should be willing to get his C1, because that is the only level of, like, you liking the character that you should be willing to do. Like, you shouldn't like the character enough to get his C0, but not his C1 and summon on him. I don't recommend people who are only like the character enough to get him to C0. I just don't, because it's like, you don't really, you get, his C1 is a very strong part of his kit. It definitely is. Especially now with Mavuika, because I wasn't thinking about it when I was initially talking about a C1 before his rerun, you know, came out. you know, Mavuika now not wanting to use the 3 normal charge definitely hurts him, and I think that is a huge issue with him right now. So overall, that's all I have to say about his Melt versus Freeze teams. I think that they, you know, you can use the Freeze team if you want. We saw 2 million damage, but that was obviously with pretty giga charged teammates, you know, having the Furina plus Yelan with the C2 Xilonen really helps out a lot. I think that the Furina plus Yelan probably did half the damage, if I'm being entirely honest. I think I was at 400,000 damage before I even switched to Wriothesley when I was calculating the damage numbers, like just adding them all up. I do think I was legitimately at like 400,000 damage. It was kind of crazy. But I think Wriothesley probably did like 60% of the damage, and those two did like 40% maybe. I don't remember exactly, but he did enough damage. He definitely did a lot of damage. So yes, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you did enjoy. If you really enjoyed, feel free to become a member. If you do become a member, you get videos 8 to 12 hours early, and then also you get some member exclusive videos. More coming soon on that part. I do have to do the members exclusive event here this in 5 days, 12 hours. I do have a video recorded. I will try and edit that as soon as possible. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.